June 6th, 1944, D-Day. The longest day. In addition to being a date that will live in honor, June 6th was a target. The most important target the 8th Air Force ever had. The mighty 8th was ordered to eliminate the German Luftwaffe as an opposing force to the Normandy invasion. They had just a handful of months to make it so.
The 8th Air Force is sent over in the spring of 1943 to do what is called strategic bombing, to knock out the German industrial infrastructure, particularly aircraft factories.
With the invasion of Europe imminent, there was a shift in the strategy to remove the German Air Force from the skies over Europe.
In 1944, the Luftwaffe is the major enemy. We had to defeat the Luftwaffe. If they're present over the channels on D-Day, the fleet will not be launched. Eisenhower made that very clear.
General Dwight Eisenhower, the Supreme Allied Commander, insisted that without air supremacy, the invasion would not be attempted. I promised the troops, if you see fighting aircraft over you, they will be ours. The strategy was straightforward. Send B-17s and B-24s to bomb Germany's most important cities, primarily Berlin. And then annihilate the Luftwaffe fighters sent up to challenge them. That was the job of the escorting P-47 Thunderbolts and the P-51 Mustangs, the plane that changed everything.
The really heavy lifting was done by the bombers because they're there to draw up the Luftwaffe. The bombers were used as bait. They had to sit and take it. There's a 5-month air war that takes place in the spring of 1944 in the run-up to D-Day. The 8th Air Force took staggering casualties. It's the biggest air war in world history. We'll never see another one like it. The monument is a kind of a cross-section of the 8th Air Force. You have the High Command, General Doolittle, who's really in charge of the air war in 1944. He was the most famous flyer in America. He did extraordinary feats of courage that advanced the technology of the air war. He changes the whole tenor and tone of the D-Day preparations and changes D-Day itself. You have Don Blakesley, who is one of the great air leaders of World War II and brought the Mustangs into play and performed absolutely heroically. One mission, Blakesley had 600 bullets in one of his planes. He was brilliant. He was a great tactician. And then you've got a simple kid from Brooklyn, Robert Rosenthal, enlisted the day after Pearl Harbor, who's a cut above with his searing intelligence and his steadiness. He winds up flying 52 missions. He gets shot down a couple of times. And he stands for the air war and all its meaning. And then you have the guys in the back of the plane, like Maynard Stuffy Smith, who represents the enlisted man. He's hit on the first mission. His plane's hit. A fire starts inside the center of the fuselage. So the whole plane is ablaze. And he's hauling 100-pound cans of ammo and try to throw them out of the plane. And everyone thought the thing was going to blow up. And right in the middle of this chaos, a Focke-Wulf fighter, a 190, comes in and tries to take him out. And he mans one of the side guns, drives the German pilot off. And what he did is he saved everybody else on the plane. And as a result, he won the Medal of Honor for it.
By June 6th, ascendancy in the air had been achieved. The Allied air forces flew nearly 15,000 sorties. The German Luftwaffe could only manage a handful. And the invasion was successfully launched.
And D-Day, when they flew over the fleet, Rosenthal described it as the most momentous moment of his life because they were on complete air silence. And when they approached the landing craft as they were going in, one of the guys in the plane, the radio operator, started whispering a prayer. And everybody joined in. They broke the radio silence. And Rosie said it was the most moving moment of his life.
In the crucial weeks after, British, Canadian, and American forces could land on the beaches and maneuver across the fields and roads of Normandy because the 8th Air Force and men like General Doolittle, Captain Blakesley, Major Rosenthal, and Sergeant Smith had sacrificed so much. The cost was great. In that 5-month battle for air supremacy that made the invasion possible, the American air forces in Europe suffered over 18,000 casualties, including 10,000 dead. But the 8th Air Force had done its indispensable duty. The men of the 8th knew what they faced every time they went up, yet they kept climbing back into those planes. Each mission was their longest day. But they endured, and so they achieved one of the decisive victories of World War II and helped retrieve the world from darkness.